And how's kind of practice been, and what's kind of the update on Andre?
Yeah, so practice. We've had some good practices. I think the 3 days off after the Creighton game, and since Christmas, we've been having some pretty good practices. We're just we're excited, hopefully, here to go into just a stretch of games where we could get some consistent practices and then some consistent games on our schedule and actually feel like we're actually into a season. So, and as far as the injured guys go, Dre, he's going to be out. I'd imagine, you won't see him before probably a 6-week minimum there for him. And a Cook is close. He's getting close. So he's had some pretty good practices this week. He's not quite there, but he's close. And Tyler is obviously, now he's a full go as well. So.
Dave Borges.
And what's stood out to you about DePaul? Obviously, they've only played 2 games, but tough, real good game the other night at Providence, losing in double overtime. Scored 90 points in both their games. And have you been impressed by kind of the way they've been able to play, despite having a month of cancellations and postponements and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Moore. It all starts with him. Tremendous point guard. Just he generates a lot of offense, and he generates a lot of pace in terms of getting that ball down the court quickly on makes, on misses. That they're a very, very quick team. Just like a quick, aggressive, type of team. With guys from the in and around that Chicago area. But yeah, I mean, they obviously they were in kind of a similar position to us in our last game, whereas had a late lead in regulation, and then just neither team was able to close out the game. So but Charlie Moore, tremendous. Obviously, Weems is a hard matchup at the 4 with his shooting and ability to drive his right hand. So and then Foreman Liberty, tremendous slasher. And so they're it's a typical of what we're realizing as we watch film and prepare for Big East games, is that just to win one of these is tough.
K-Mac.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
K-Mac, what's up?
Hey, Ed was talking the other night after the DePaul game about how difficult it was to have his guys around through Christmas, not seeing their families, really haven't been able to leave campus since September. I believe you're talking about the exact same thing, and you've had COVID cases. How much of a battle challenge is it to keep these guys going mentally at this stage?
I mean, in all honesty, and no one, wants to hear this because everyone wants to hear, just that everything is going great. No, this is hard. It's hard on these kids. Just their day-to-day experience, their, the holiday experience, basically to go from the practice facility, to the dorm, to the practice facility, to a game, or maybe not a game because it was canceled, or maybe not a practice because you're in a pause. This is really, really hard on the players, not on the coaches, but the players. I give these guys that are going through this season a lot of credit for being as mentally tough as these kids in college basketball have been, because this is not, it's really hard for them.
how much does it help that some of the families can actually come to the games?
That is a definite lift, Kevin, is, when you do get a home game and they could see their family from a distance. But even something like the other day in our Creighton game where you have, such a heartbreaking defeat. In a normal year, you would be able to huddle up with your family in the lobby, maybe go grab a bite to eat. They could kind of help you pick up the pieces after, a tough night. But, the fact they're not even able to do that, it's a tremendous challenge, but at least they could, wave into the stands and see see their loved ones.
Yeah, great, thanks.
You got it, Ken.
Joe Zone?
Thank you, Phil. Kevin already asked my question. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Joe.
Neil Ostrow?
Dan, how well do you know Dave Lato, and are there kind of the style of play that he coaches? Does some of that come from Jim? Some of that come from what you've seen from his spent a lot of time in Virginia, obviously a lot of different places. Are there kind of things you can draw from watching him or facing him previously?
Yeah, I mean, I've never had the pleasure of coaching against Dave, but I mean, I've seen Dave. I followed Dave's career. He's had an amazing career, and he continues to do it. He's such a well-respected figure in our game. In the game of college basketball, I've been aware of Dave since his time at UConn with Coach Calhoun, and I think Dave is. I think Dave showed a lot of flexibility in his career, where he's not necessarily married to a system. I think that Dave is always adapted to the place he's coached and to the type of personnel he's had. So I look forward to competing against him.
Dom?
Dan, where is Tyler at in terms of physically, mentally, and is he ready to maybe take a step closer to where he left off last year? And how important can he be with his 3-point shooting to maybe opening up your offense a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're coming out of our last one and you literally, just needed, as it turns out, one more point. And where you have a game where you've got so many, 1 for 8, 1 for 6, 2, just so many guys that struggled offensively. He's a very important guy. I think that the time off has been hopefully a good reset for him, and he gives us some flexibility as a bigger guard and as a small ball 4-man. A stretch 4 that can open up the court for James in particular. It's very important that we get some offense around James, because I'd imagine people are going to be, really creative with the way that they guard him. So Tyler's a critical guy for us moving forward, and hopefully this break will be good for him, recharge him.
Charlotte?
Hey, Dan, you talked about the players not having their families there after a tough loss. What have you done, I guess, differently to kind of reflect that, or how do you approach that as a coach when they don't have that, I guess, outlet right there after?
I just think, you try to be, more understanding, and it wasn't just the fact that we're going through a pandemic. Our guys' effort versus Creighton was a tremendous effort. I mean, they really gave a winning effort. We didn't make clutch free throws, and we screwed up a butt screen, quick 2 defensive mistake, in large part because of what we've been dealing with relative to the pauses and the lack of consistent gameplay that would give us the game experience and the practice experience to not have those situations occur. So, You know, I'm more patient. You know, I'm more understanding. You know, the standards still are what they are. We're still practicing really, really hard. But if you don't have compassion and empathy, you know, with the group right now relative to their day-to-day experience, then you're blind.
Wayne?
Dan, were you happy with your three-point defense against Creighton, 7 of 26? And how important is that against DePaul, which has shot 46% in the first two games?
Yeah, I mean, versus a team of Creighton's, you know, caliber in terms of their efficiency offense. Yeah, we were pleased. They got a couple of those early too, Wayne, when we were big. You know, with Isaiah at the 4 and Adama and, you know, and or Josh at center. You know, once we went smaller, we were able to, the quality of their three-point attempts decreased greatly, which was what gave us a chance to win the game. So, yeah, I mean, we just, you know, we've got to, I think, guard the ball, you know, knock on wood. I'm not sure that they're quite as good a three-point shooting team as Creighton, but where we've got to be better against DePaul is guarding the ball and being more physical at the point of dribble penetration, where we were driven to the front of the rim too easily, you know, by Creighton. We wanted to chase them off the line, but we were a little too soft on the ball at the point of finish at the rim, which is an area that we've really, really worked on post-Christmas.
Gavin? Hey, Dan, what's it been like walking out on game night in Gamble Pavilion with a totally different atmosphere? And is it not having the fans, does that kind of neutralize kind of the home court advantage?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the home and road records and neutral, I mean, everything feels neutral. You know, obviously there's an advantage of shooting on the rims and you know, comfortable in surroundings, but yeah, I mean, these games all feel neutral, you know, and it's eerie, you know, it's an eerie feeling on game day when you know, normally when the Gamble folks would be, you know, filing in, you know, the police and security would be outside, it's buzz, it's game day. You know, they feel like secret scrimmages is what they feel like until you get in there, you know, and then obviously go through your game prep and it gets real quickly, but it's eerie, man. All these, it's strange.
Dave, Borges?
And then with the Cook being close, as you said, what are kind of are there some sort of final hurdles he has to get over? And would you expect maybe to see him maybe on that pregame trip out Midwest in a couple of weeks?
I think he's got a shot there. You know, I think, you know, I kind of want 2020 over with before, you know, I just, you know, I'm really, you know, we just want to get him away from 2020. It's been brutal. But I just think it's more, you know, from this one, you know, I think he's close. I mean, he you know, he probably had, you know, just probably had 2 practices post-Christmas out of the 5 that we said, like, you know, this guy may be ready. So I think, you know, if you could just give us a couple of more really good days, you know, I think that's realistic for him in January here to get in the mix.
Yeah, Dan, you know, I ask only because I've gotten a number of emails on this from people who've watched it, but I'm wondering, have coaches gotten any guidance or protocol from the university or from the league about wearing your mask? I mean, I know you take yours down a lot, you have it up, a good amount of the time. How do you try to manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, if we're getting tested as much as we're getting tested, hey, listen, I want to have as good a mask discipline as the next guy. And I wouldn't dare pull my mask down if I'm getting takeout at some of the local eateries, or if I go into the food store, I'm not wearing my mask as a chin strap. But if you're saying that it's safe for me to go on the court and all of us to go on the court, and if some refs are wearing them but they're not, and if we're all getting tested and none of it, if we're going out on the court because we've been tested and none of us have it, and there's no fans, then why do I have to wear a mask? The players aren't wearing a mask. Some refs aren't wearing a mask. I've had refs on my game that haven't worn a mask. I've had some refs that have worn the mask. I'm getting tested multiple times a day. There's no one else at the game with the exception of the players that I'm around constantly. So we're basically in our little bubble. I'm not really going next to the other team. The referee's been tested. If it's about the message that we're sending that we all need to wear masks, then I'm gonna try to do better. I've potentially maybe a mask change for me tomorrow anyway, which could make it more viable. But you're putting us out there to play a game. In the end, no one's going to care about the excuses of what everyone's been through since March. And we feel in a lot of ways in sports like you're fighting for your life to win. So excuse me about the mask coming down. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better. Send me the emails too, so I could just look at them quickly, laugh, and delete them. Go away. I get tested all week. I don't go anywhere but home.
Now that's the Dan Hurley I remember from Rhode Island.
No, that you'll see that back. I promise you,
All right,
Kevin.
all right, good.
Those days
good.
are returning. I tried to button it up too much.
Yeah.
I'll be much more back to who I am. I promise you. The COVID has had me in the fog. I will be myself moving forward. I promise you.
Any other questions, guys?
Dan, what's the mask change you're going with?
Oh, it's gonna be a surprise.
It's a surprise. I mean, if it goes bad, it'll give me a better chance to not have to tug at it, and then obviously have to answer the questions because Dom's gotten tons of emails, and because there's articles written on coaches not wearing a mask. I like it though. I like it. It would be a tone setter, and I think it's practical. But I've never tried it, so I'm going to try it at shoot around tomorrow, and we'll see.